Today is the 70th anniversary of the North British Greenland expedition, and Tudor have relaunched their Ranger. "70 years ago to the day, literally today, the North British Greenland expedition set off a few miles that way. I'm at the tobacco docks in East London, and these guys set off from Deptford exactly 70 years ago today. The explorers took with them over £5 worth of Tudor watches, Oyster Princes. The idea was to see how accurate these watches actually were in the harsh conditions of Greenland. They did that by measuring the accuracy, the timing of the watches against the hourly signals that the BBC emitted. They then recorded their findings in their notebooks, and both one of the original watches and these notebooks are now part of Tudor's archives. And the findings that they gathered from this trip were used to then build a watch that could withstand the harsh environments of Greenland, the 100-mile-an-hour freezing winds, temperatures dropping down to minus 90 degrees C, and then of course all the climbing and caving that these guys had to do. There have been quite a few Ranger models over the years, but the most notable ones were the ones that were launched in the 60s. Very simple time-only watches with the 36912 on the dial. These were little 34mm watches, but this is what Tudor has relaunched in a 39mm version. The new reference that we have is the 79950. It is all steel, 39mm wide. I don't have any measurements on the thickness, but as it was on the wrist, it feels much more like a Black Bay 58 thickness as opposed to a Black Bay Pro thickness. We have a domed black dial, we have domed sapphire crystal, we have a screw down crown and 100 meters of water resistance, and it comes in a bracelet, a woven strap, or a leather rubber hybrid strap. The movement inside is of course an in-house caliber, an automatic in-house caliber. This is the MT5402. It is bi-directional winding, it has a silicon balance spring, so it's highly anti-magnetic. It vibrates at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's COSC certified and has 70 hours of power reserve. The price of this thing is $2,420 on a bracelet or $2,170 on a strap. Now, Tudor do say that the movement inside is one of the basic movements, but you can't take away from the fact that it has a silicon hairspring, it has 70 hours of power reserve, and it's COSC certified. It isn't one of their high-performing METAS movements, but it is still a very solid movement, a movement that will outperform many watches within this price range. So for that reason, I think this is pretty solid. Now, my favorite watch is the Rolex Explorer. I'm obsessed with simple watches, the Aquaterra from Omega. Watches like this, which look simple, but actually can perform a task, and they're just solid tool watches that don't need any bells and whistles. I'm just drawn to these styles of watches, so naturally I like this watch. I didn't like the watch when I saw it in pictures, but when I put it on the wrist, it just feels good. It feels solid, and people will enjoy the fact it's 39mm, because I know a lot of people are annoyed that Rolex discontinued the 39mm Explorer and only have the 36. This is my 36mm Explorer alongside the new Ranger. Of course, visually these watches are pretty different. There are a lot of differences to these watches, but overall aesthetic, the overall styling of the watch is very, very similar. So no doubt this will tick a lot of boxes for those who wanted that 39mm Explorer. And no doubt it's going to be much easier to buy. Things to note with this watch, the price. The price is absolutely nuts. £2,400 for this, £2,420 for this watch, I think is amazing. In-house movement, solid build, brilliant heritage, brilliant history, and a superb bracelet. The bracelet on this thing is near enough perfect, and that is one of the big standout things of this watch. It's plain, it doesn't have those annoying faux rivets that are often on Tudor sports watches, but the big thing, well, it has a nice taper, but the big thing about this bracelet is the T-fit clasp. It's this isn't new within Tudor, but it's new to be rolled out on more watches. This clasp is absolutely brilliant. It's relatively thin, it's relatively short, so it doesn't take up a huge amount of space on your wrist, but it has a brilliant bracelet extension system built into the clasp. This isn't groundbreaking, this isn't anything new, but it is nice to see a watch of this price level to have such a well-engineered on-the-fly bracelet extension. This is superior to many other brands who have a similar mechanism. I do hope Tudor roll this bracelet out on more of their watches, because this is a brilliant bracelet. The strap that it comes on, of course, is decent. It's a fair attempt from Tudor. It's not as solid as a barkandjack native strap, of course, but it's a fair attempt. The leather and rubber hybrid strap, I think, is a decent offering. It certainly feels sporty. Style-wise, I do think the woven strap is a better look, but overall, I actually think this watch just suits being on a bracelet. It looks more solid, it feels solid, it just works. Little gripes I have about this watch: I'm really not a fan of that hour hand. I feel like the hour hand, I would have been more happier to have a snowflake hand than an hour hand, but that wouldn't then have been in line with the whole Ranger range, so it kind of makes sense. For some reason, it might just be my bias of having looked at the dial of an Explorer for so long that the 12, I would have perhaps preferred the 12 on the dial simply to be a triangle, to have 3, 6, 9 and then a triangle, but that could just be my eyes and my bias of enjoying the Explorer aesthetic more. That being said, I do really like the curvaceous numerals of this. It has that vintage styling about it, and that is something that Tudor nails. I'm at the Tudor event right now, so I only got hands-on with the watch for literally about 10 minutes, probably even 5 minutes, and it's hard to come up with solid criticism and solid support when you've only got hands-on with a watch for that long. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do a week on the wrist or something and spend a bit more time with this watch. But these are my thoughts, and these are the images that I could capture with this short moment. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think of this watch, especially the fact that Rolex are doing 36mm Explorer. These guys have gone with a 39mm Ranger. What do you guys think? If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like the style of this video, then hit the subscribe button down there and that little bell icon to get notifications when I drop a new video. If you want to check out our podcast, just search About Effing Time and it will come up. See you guys next time. Take care.